Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Wake up. It is Monday and the Fusion is live. So this video is going to be a quick wrap up of what you need to know going on with the Fusion currently. We'll touch on the legendary and the epics involved, get you all caught up heading into your week of raids. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, this looks like a pretty standard old school Fusion. The only difference being in terms of this one compared to lots of the other ones they used to do is all the champions are really new to the game, so it doesn't really help to have a bunch of stock in your vault. It looks like it's basically gonna wrap up around New Year's, so you've got about 17 or 18 days. Pretty standard. They're usually between like 17 and 20 days, so time frame pretty par for the course. And then if you ever want a list of the events coming up, right here in game you can go under news and then festive Fusion event, click read more, and it's got a breakdown of all the events when they're coming up, and you can keep tabs on exactly when, like for instance, artifact enhancement event. We know there is one coming in a couple days on the 16th, so you're going to want to be careful and kind of plan around this stuff. Now the epics, 3 of them are attainable from events, but they're probably going to be tough to get. You can see here Summon Rush and Champion Chase Tournament. Anytime you're acquiring champions, you know, it can be it can cost a lot of money to be pulling a bunch of shards, and those ones can be a little bit crazy, so you definitely want to focus on the rares for those. And then Rugnar or Rugnor, you can't you can only fuse there's usually one epic, usually the Void epic, that you can't fuse, or I mean that you can't get from an event, so you have to fuse them. So these rares right here, you're really gonna have to pay attention on the bottom and make sure you are getting those in terms of going after the Fusion. But now let's touch on the champions involved in the Fusion, and I'll do a quick wrap up of how good they are. Okay, so Balthus Droglord is the first one we're going to touch on in terms of going over the epics and then the legendary picks. I'm not going to touch on all the rares, or this video would be an hour long, but I will get all of them added to the tier list and try to keep you guys up to date on exactly what all these champions are capable of if you go ahead and check that out. But we'll quickly touch on the epics and the legendary at least, just to give you a quick wrap up. Looks really cool. I like the look of Balthus. Very nice aesthetically. Doesn't look like a reskin, and definitely looks pretty neat here as a champion. So base stats, pretty par for the course, nothing crazy of note. The A1, pretty solid. We've got a pretty reliable big version of decreased attack, and he scales with defense, so I like that. The A2 is an AoE that we can book to a 3-turn cooldown. Decreased crit rate, not super impactful. And then we can book to a 4-turn cooldown and basically a single target provoke for 2 turns. I wish this was ally heals and not just himself. Then we've got a passive with a chance to reflect. Okay, and then the passive here is, or the aura is 30% defense and faction crips. Pretty average. Not the worst epic in the game. I would give this guy like a C. Not amazing, and not a D or an F. Alaric the Hooded also looks very cool, an epic from the Bannerlords that is involved in the Fusion. And for base stats, pretty decent base attack, extremely low base defense. Whenever that's under 800, it is very, very low. So that is not a good thing. So it's going to be a glass cannon type character here, low base HP as well. We've got an A1 attack, 1 enemy, 30% chance of decreasing target's turn meter by 7.5%, and then a further 3% for each buff on the target. So you can get this up to 10, 13, 16% turn meter removal on the A1 here. So not horrible, just not amazing there. Then we've got you can book this to a 3-turn cooldown. 1 enemy, chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target before attacking. 75% chance of stealing to instead if the target has 4 or more buffs. So this guy will be really good in the magic keep. You can constantly remove that big shield and is going to be affinity strong in the magic keep. So will definitely be really good there, but unfortunately I'm not seeing a whole lot of anything that would make this guy amazing. Then we've got, you could book 4-turn cooldown, AoE, 75% chance of decreasing attack and decreasing that's okay. That's not bad, especially if it hits hard. It's on a 4-turn cooldown when booked, and it's going to be 100% chance of placing the big version of decreased attack and decreased accuracy, which is basically a resistance buff for your whole team. So yeah, again, similar to the last one, not bad. Pretty par for the course for an epic. Probably like a C, C+. That ability could be decent for faction wars and dungeon waves and stuff like that. So yeah, similar to the last champion, C, C+. Gerard the Stone, another epic in the Bannerlords. Base stats, really good base speed, really low base HP, and not really enough defense to make up for it. That should have probably been like 1200 at least, if your base HP is going to be that low. But okay, we've got an A1 here. Okay, you can book this up to a 25% chance of placing a stun. 40% chance if the target has more than 75% turn meter. So, okay, anytime you can get CC like that on an A1, it's not bad. A2 is going to be placed 30% increased crit rate and 30% increased crit damage on the champion for 2 turns. I wish that would be like more than just him. Either 3 random allies or the entire team or something. We'll ignore 25% of the target's defense. We'll ignore 50% of target's defense if it's under an increased defense buff. So this will probably hit pretty hard if it's going to be a single target damage dealing ability here that ignores a bunch of defense. So okay, going to be a single target damage dealer. We got a passive where he's immune to fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, and stun, where that's booked to a 3-turn cooldown. And then we've got resistance in Doom Tower battles by 50. So we're going to start seeing some of those Rs come out with Doom Tower abilities attached to them, because I know some of you have questions if auras that work in dungeons work in the Doom Tower, and they do not. It has to be all battles or Doom Tower. So he will have an aura in the Doom Tower, but yeah, I mean, I could see some utility versus like Doom Tower waves or something that are tough to get through. But again, C in terms of grade, C plus. I just don't see anything that really rushes me out to think this champion's amazing. And the last epic is going to be Rugnor Gold Gleam. Looks very cool. I love the aesthetics here. Love the axe. Definitely a very cool looking dwarf epic. Base stats, again, pretty decent except for very low base defense under 800. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. In terms of the kit, we got an A1. Okay, so this has potential to be really good in boss fights, especially in the clan boss, as long as the rest of the kit synergizes with this. But Leech is pretty solid, especially in a boss fight scenario. We've got sacrifice HP equal to 15% of this champion's max HP. Fill the turn meter by 75%. Place a shield on this champion equal to 20% of max HP. Shield cannot be removed. Well, and this will happen even if it kills this champion, and ignore some of this like shield and block damage buffs. Okay, so yeah, okay, gonna be kind of providing his own shield, so you don't need to have someone like a Valkyrie or something to help keep him alive. So trending towards being a decent champion in the clan boss. Then we've got, okay, A3, 50% increase attack of this champion for 2 turns. Then attacks 1 enemy, so a single target. We can book this to 100% of placing 25% weaken, and then also place 60% decreased defense on the target before attacking. So why wasn't that just worded up there? If they both have a 75% chance of placing a decreased defense and a weaken, I don't know why they weren't worded together. I don't know why the defense was written separately, because they're both before attacking. So he's going to place the decreased defense before attacking, and then 75% chance of placing the weaken after the attack. I guess that's worded a little bit weird, but anyway, that does synergize with being pretty good with, in the clan boss. We've got weaken and decreased defense and self-buffing his damage. Then we've got a passive, the Gleam of Avarice is going to be the A3 here. Decrease the cooldown by 1 turn each time the champion loses 15% HP. So that could be cool when the clan boss hits him hard, loses 15% HP. It's going to lower the cooldown of the Gleam of Avarice to keep that weaken and decreased defense up on the clan boss while also hitting hard. So okay, I like how that synergizes. Ally attack, this should have been all battles, but anyway, they're trying to get some Doom Tower Rs out. I understand that. So alright, I think this one is the most intriguing in terms of having a role in a specific team and situation. So I'll give this like a B minus instead of like a C plus. Not incredible, but looks like could be fun to play around with in the right team. Then we get to the main event. Pixneal definitely looks cool. I love the swirling blue effect, and the weapons there. Definitely a cool looking champion. I have gone over Pixneal before, but we'll go over her really quick as a refresher course for you here. Base stats are pretty solid. I like the 50 base resistance and accuracy combined. 103 base speed, great defense. It's over 1200. That's not bad. And then the base HP is decent. So we've got an attack scaling champion with a chance to place a Veil on the A1 on a random ally for 1 turn. We've got 60% increased defense and continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns, then attack all enemies under a freeze and place a weaken on them for 2 turns if they are under freeze. That on a 3-turn cooldown is pretty solid. It's going to do some damage, synergize with somebody like Torment or somebody who places freezes like a Shiramani. So we've got some synergy opportunity there while also providing some heals and toughness for the team on a 3-turn cooldown as long as you've got it booked. So that ability is pretty solid. Then we've got attack 5 times at random, each hit with a 30% chance of placing a freeze. Looks like we can get that booked up to 50%. That's a lot of books though. I would like that crunched a little bit. Legendary books are extremely tough to come by, so I wish that was crunched down and not level 8 here. But also has a 100% chance of placing freeze on enemies that receive 2 hits, so it's basically going to become more consistent the less enemies you're going up against. Once you kill a couple, the freeze attacking 5 times at random has a higher chance of hitting the same target twice, and it'll get a little bit more reliable and kind of snowball there. We've got a passive. Whenever an enemy places freeze debuff on an ally, a 20% chance of stealing that and placing it on herself instead of the ally, and then a 25% chance of filling the champion's turn meter by 25% when they do actually steal the freeze. Then a 35% chance of removing freeze from the champion at the start of every turn. So hopefully soaking up all those freezes, boosting turn meter, and then cleansing it once her turn is up. And then if there are multiple champions with the skill, only 1 will activate. So looks like you're not going to stack a bunch of Pixneals on the same team or something to go against a Torment. But you could go like Pixneal and Dark Elaine and really set up a very specific Torment countering team to deal with those freezes. So we'll at least have a niche in the game in terms of countering freeze. Then we've got ally resist in arena battles by 80. So okay, yeah, I mean, I think I'm lukewarm on Pixneal. I would give this like a B minus. Not incredible, not a complete trash can. Does at least have a niche in the game. But I have to say a little bit disappointing on Pixneal. Now in terms of the fusion, I would recommend going for the fusion if it's realistic for you. That's why we play the game, is to acquire some champions and fill out our roster. But is she gonna be like completely account changing, like a Siphi or a Bad Alcazar or a Dracomorph? So, no, she's not. Just being blunt with you, she's not going to. But you do want to acquire decent champions as long as you can. So yeah, it kind of stinks. I'm a little bit disappointed about the Christmas fusion, but I'm still gonna go for her because I'm sure there is a role in the game, and then I'll probably set up a super anti-Torment team for Tag Team Arena and Classic Arena. I think that's gonna be kind of her main utility, and then also maybe against the Frost Spider later on in the game. She could be handy to have. I'm gonna have to get her and test her in these different scenarios to make sure. So my official stance is do go for it if it's realistic for you. Don't break your wallet to do so, and don't feel bad if you need to skip it if it's not realistic for you right now. But do go for it if you can, because I want to test her before I get an official stance on some of this stuff. And this video is already getting kind of long, so like I said, I'm not going to go over all of the rares involved in this fusion, but I am going to get them added to the tier list as soon as I can, so you can at least keep track of which ones to kind of keep an eye on and all of that stuff. And then they did kind of sneak in some new champions in there. I'm gonna do a separate video going over all of the new champions they snuck in, because I don't want this one to be 45-50 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the offers and kind of wrap up everything that's going on in game right here to get you caught up for this week. So let's pull up this sheet here, and we've got the bonus skill pack. I think I've seen this one a few times. Not super amazing. Anytime you see it purchase them in a 3, it's probably not going to be super good. So we've got 2750 and 2750. Then we've got 7 and 7. Boom, boom. Yeah, 1.58. This is pretty much a whale offer. It's not going to be a good offer for anybody who's diligent about their spending. The monthly pack we know is pretty good. I think it's like a 2.5 or so. Mini mix bonus offer. This one's gonna be tough to grade because it splits resources between the forge and stuff. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put the keys as they cost 100 a piece. I'm not gonna add 500 gems. I'm just gonna call this like 1200 to make up for the keys. 250 brews is actually a pretty decent amount. 6,000 energy is a pretty decent amount as well. And then 5 days of XP. And then we've got 30. So that brings us to 52. 30 rank and rarity is going to go like this. That's 11, and like 30 of those random ones is worth a couple bucks maybe. So even if we call that 15, that still only gets us up to 67 or so. So yeah, this one's gonna be a hard pass for me. $100 is really expensive, and that's too much for what you're getting here, in my opinion. 6-star artifact. No, we don't want to pay $30 for crit damage gear, especially if it's epic. Even if this were legendary, probably wouldn't be worth it. So let's put that away. And then in terms of events going on in the game, I will review them really quickly. If we go into tournaments, right now it is a spider tournament live. And this is going to be fragments for the champion right here in the fusion. You're going to want to at least get that if you're going for the fusion. That should be 1800. It's pretty realistic on the spider, and you can never really go wrong grinding the spider. And then let's go over the events really quickly. I believe it's Dungeon Divers. Yeah, okay. So the fusion warm-up, you've got that ending in 1 day. If you want to go for the core hammers on that, that's probably the biggest thing to take note of there. And then the Dungeon Divers is a pretty long one. For the fusion, you've got 2 different opportunities to get fragments for, or not fragments, but to get pieces for the fusion, I meant to say. So keep an eye on getting the 3850 there if you're trying to do that as budget as possible to make sure you're keeping on pace for the fusion. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. I wanted to get a quick video out there, getting you caught up for the week of raid and going over the epics and legendary involved in the fusion as a nice little wrap up to refresh our memories over exactly what's going on. So I'm also going to do another video really quickly going over the new champions they snuck in, so keep an eye out for that. And that's going to do it for this one. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.